WEP has been replaced with WPA, which stands for Wi-Fi Protected Access. WPA not only gets the cryptography better, as we'll talk about in a moment, it's also set up for situations like the campus network at Utah, where there are many different access points, but you log in with your UID and password, and that needs to go to some centralized server that authenticates users and let them connect to the access point. So in general, we have this authentication server sitting behind the access point, at least for situations that need it. In that situation, the access point will send the authentication suites that it's authorized to offer to clients, much like we saw with TLS when a client is connecting. A client will pick one of those, and it'll work through the access point that is now acting just as a kind of bridge to send the negotiations on to the authentication server. That negotiation to allow you to connect to the Wi-Fi is called the EAP, for Extensible Authentication Protocol. And it's very TLS-like in that ultimately the client and the server here are negotiating to get some key, some shared secret that lets them communicate. That shared secret is going to be passed off to the access point, though, and so then it is used for frames to encrypt between the client and the access point. So there will be session keys derived from this master key that let those two pieces communicate and encrypt their Wi-Fi frames. If you're not in something like a university setting, just your home setting, say, then you don't need such a sophisticated login. It does make sense still to have a password that's written on a chalkboard in a cafe or told the guest at your house, and that's the variation called WPA Personal. It still uses the same sort of negotiation and TLS-like setup of a shared secret, just without the separate authentication server. So all of that would be built into your home router, probably. Instead of going into any more detail on this blue arrow here and the protocol that clients and access points provide, let's just say that it's TLS-like, it's IPsec-like. At this point, you've seen the details of those enough to know how it goes.